Not that hot.
Nah. Oh, buddy. Hey man, let me sit down and fix my shirt first so my man boobs look a little better. Hey, thank you. Appreciate it.
We have Nick Eason, so go ahead with questions.
Hey Coach, I guess one of the main questions everyone's right now is just the health status update of Brian and Trey.
Brian and Trey are really have done a really tremendous job of taking care of their bodies this off season. They're going to be, that's going to be a constant thing they're going to have to continue to work on throughout the year. They're going to have to learn how to be pros before they become pros. But right now they got to be the best Clemson Tigers they can be for themselves, and I really challenged them, as they've gotten cleared, all right, to play. But I've challenged them to make sure that they do a good job of kind of being more proactive in terms of taking care of their bodies. That comes down to just eating right, getting plenty of rest, and spending a lot of time in the training room, just kind of being proactive. Stretching, getting in the ice tub, those things are going to be really important for them as they move forward, just to prevent those injuries. And as everybody knows, we were decimated by injury at defensive line last year, which really hurt the team a lot. So been focusing on that, just really encouraging those guys, to kind of take care of themselves like pros. Oh yeah, we're ready to rock and roll, But like I mentioned earlier, man, we gotta do a good job being proactive with our bodies and stretching and doing all the things to prevent injuries, which we've had a lot of them at the defensive line position in the past. So I've challenged them to do that. They stepped up to the challenge thus far. They just got to be consistent throughout the season.
Is that something different than what they're used to from seasons past? I mean, what have you brought that's different, with you from Auburn?
I think for me, just having the professional experience, I've been around a lot of great players, the Willie McGinnis, the Shannon Sharps of the world. One of those things that I've learned from being around pro guys that have played double-digit seasons and longer, man, it's all about how you take care of your body. Those guys spend a lot of time in the ice tub, spend more time trying to recover more than anything, the acupuncture, yoga, dry needling, whatever it takes, all right, to be able to recover. And so that's how you can extend your career. And so I've taken that knowledge that I learned, in the pros and just kind of brought it to the college level, man. Just trying to encourage guys, say, hey guys, I don't know what you think that the pros are about, but here's what I've seen and here's what I learned over the 18 years, 19 years that I was there in the league. And so I just passed on the information, and they trust me, at this point in time. So they stepped up to the challenge, and I see more guys in there working with Dr. Bina to take care of their bodies.
Can you describe just how freaky this defensive line can potentially be?
We're very talented. I think that the great teams that I've been a part of and I've played with always have depth, and I think we have some of the best depth in the country. Everybody in the room can play. And so, it's talking about Brian Brzee, the Ruka Roro, Tyler Davis, and Peyton Page, and E.T. Rubin, Cape Hart, Trey Williams, they all bring, something to the table. And, it's a really good situation for me to be in as long as we stay healthy. But they can all do it all. Each one of them have their own set of skills that they're really good at and things they do well. And it's going to make us a really great defensive line. And if the guys put in the hard work, we'll be the best in the country. And so it's just my job to make sure that, I'm demanding but not demeaning, and I challenge those guys every day. But we have all the tools you're looking for on the defensive line, and all of our guys in the room, we have it. I think it's just going to be a challenge for us to make sure we just stay healthy. And that's the biggest thing that I'm really focusing on, as well as just continue developing the talent in the room. I really truly feel like, you're always going to be developing talent, whether you're coaching in high school, whether you're coaching on the college level, or even in the pros. It's about developing your talent that you have. And but these guys have the skill set to do it, and we're just going to move forward and just continue to work.
Nick, how is Brzee coming back from injury?
He has been amazing. For me, I just actually was on the treadmill trying to lose a few pounds myself. But he was, he's been awesome. He's a tough kid. Mike Tomlin, something I learned I was in the Steelers, I'd rather say whoa than sick him. He's a kid that you have to say whoa. because he's always going to give you 150% everything that he has, and so it's just been, you know, for me, it's just like, you know, hey man, you guys a long season. I need you for all. How many of us going to take it to get to the national championship? I need you in all of those, and so, but he's working really hard. He's been great, even when he was, you know, still going through his rehab. He was present at practice, been present in meetings, and so he's been doing a really good job of just, you know, not only getting back but continue to just, you know, be more of a leader in the role that he's in.
Is he the most vocal leader you've got in your room? I know Tyler's kind of more of a soft-spoken type of guy who lets his actions on the field do his talking.
Yeah, they all lead in their own way, but, you know, from vocally, probably more Tyler. You know, I think my personality came in the room, they all kind of backed off and was kind of like, whoa, you know, when I came in the room. But I would say it'd be Tyler, Root, Brazil. They all will talk, you know. Cape Harp, not so much. Peyton, not so much. But you know, leadership for me is action and example. You know, not a position or title. So, but those probably three guys be more the vocal ones: Rook, you know, Tyler, and Brazil.
Can you describe about this new defense, or the defense is going to look under Coach Goodwin versus what Coach Venables?
Man, I just think for me, you know, I'm going to work really, 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 really hard this year to assist Wes, be a servant to him, to help him be the best defensive coordinator in the country. You know, I think, you know, I know a lot of people, you know, you may underestimate him, but hey, big surprises come in small packages. And with him standing at 4'11", you know, I think people, I'm not going to be surprised, you know, with the way our defense is going to look. I think Wes is going to bring his own taste and flavor to this defense. And I'm really excited about some of the things that he's going to do. We'll just be multiple. There are a lot of things we're going to do. We have a lot of talent, and we're going to do a great job of putting guys in position to make plays. And Wes knows the talents that we have at every position on every level. He studied the game. He knows the game. And I love working with him. He reminds me of Dick LeBeau, who I was my defensive coordinator, the Steelers, who I worked with when I was coaching at the Tennessee Titans. And he's going to put our guys in position to make plays, man. I'm really, truly excited about it. You know, things are going to be a lot simpler, yet complicated at times when we need to be, and let our guys play fast. You know, I think that's the difference.
He's a younger guy, relatively speaking, in coaching standards.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that speaks to a guy that's had a degree of talent. Or you can kind of just see it with this guy. So, for someone who might not be in the know, just describe to me what that is like.
Oh, with Wes? Yeah. Man, Wes knows, I mean, he studies the game. He loves the game. You know, in his free time at home, he's probably drawn up plays, and I'm not just exaggerating. He knows from the back end to the front end, and he's always been like that since he stepped in this building. From just talking to Woody McCorvey and Coach Sweeney, because I didn't know Wes. We have a lot of mutual acquaintances from during the period of time he worked at the Arizona Cardinals. Out there with Bruce Arians, all those guys being from Pittsburgh, but those guys, man, spoke very highly of him. But man, he's a coach of the game. He knows it all, man. He really takes pride in what he does. He's a great family man, loves his wife and kids, and such a really good person, you know. And you know, that matters a lot to me. Just being a good person, man. He knows how to treat people right, and he's a guy you want to work for and work with. And, you know, I'm just excited for him to have this opportunity. He deserved it, you know. I think a lot of times, you know, people are just wondering, like, who is Wes Goodwin? But I guarantee you'll find out this season. And, you know, we're going to, you know, me and the rest of the support staff and assistant coaches, man, we're going to do everything in our power to make sure he succeeds by doing our part and having his back. And so with Wes, man, he's really smart. You know, he's going to be able to make a lot of adjustments, which that's what it takes to be a defensive coordinator. You got to be willing to adjust, and he's going to be able to do that. He takes all of our opinions in consideration, and we all work together. We all have a part in this, so he's not by himself. So, man, I really love working with him. I'm very unselfish, and, you know, he's going to have a lot of success, and players love him as well, so it's going to be great.
You walked into a room full of highly recruited guys.
Yeah.
What was it like to see guys like Eason and Rook get the development they did last year due to injuries and be where they are now?
Man, it was huge. That playing time did them a lot of good. If you if you go back, for me, I went back and studied a lot of tape from when they first got here until last year. And speaking of those two, Rook and E.T. made huge strides just with that playing time. And so, man, just looking forward to big things coming in the last year, And that's the unique thing about the defensive line room is when you have a lot of depth, next man up. And so, for guys like Rook and E.T., this year is just going to be even better for me. The expectation is going to be higher that I push them to be better versions of themselves. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Nobody should be loafing. If you do, you might be in trouble because there's enough talent in this room that the next guy may take your spot the next week. So, I love being a part of that, man. Anytime you got competition in the room, it just makes everybody better. And so, I believe guys are going to step up to the challenge. But, man, we should be fresh. Guys should be going 110 miles per hour. As long as we stay healthy, man, we can be a really dominant defensive line this year with the talent that we have in the room, the guys that are coming back, and with everybody being healthy.
What about your ends? Coach over there coaches your ends. You guys match them up with your tackles. How much of a luxury is it to have the set of ends you got?
Yeah.
Because when you're taking up those blocks, guys up.
Oh man, it's a huge luxury. I mean, you're talking about Miles and KJ and XT and Masco. Man, those are four guys who have all the tools to play at the next level, and they'll do a really good job, man. Me and Coach Ski and the defensive line, we all work together. We meet together often, and so it's all interchangeable. And with some of the things that we're bringing to the table this year, for myself and just kind of talking with Wes, man, we'll mix and move those guys around this year. So you'll see guys line up at different multiple positions, and this year from the ends being the tackles, and just really excited about it. But yeah, the talent level on the outside, man, just makes it easier. When you got dudes across the board, I mean, it's hard to kind of, protect one. I mean, you got to protect four. And if you look at the, guys in the NFL and, look at the Rams, I mean, the number of guys they got up front. And then people talk about Aaron Donald, but you also got Von Miller. You got Leonard Floyd. You got all these guys that you got to protect. And that's kind of how I see a defensive line. We have talent at every level. We have depth. Guys that can come in and start, for us. And so, for me, there's no really, first team, second team, and they all first teamers in my eyes. And it's just an honor and pleasure to be able to coach them. Oh, man, Peyton Page, for me, had the most improved this spring. From where I heard that, I wasn't here last year when he got here, but I heard he was almost 400 pounds. He looked like me. But, man, from the transformation he's made, coming in from last year, and some of the things that I saw on tape, just areas that he needed to improve on. I mean, he really stepped up to the challenge. He came in, changed his body. I think he's lost about 40, 50 pounds. I mean, he looks like a different person. And he had a really good spring. He's a guy that's going to be a dominant nose tackle on the interior, in the inside moving forward, man. He has all the tools, very smart, very engaged in meetings. And I'm looking for a really kind of breakout year for him this year. But I would definitely say he's the most improved. Next up would be DeMonte Capehart, who's really coming to his own. He's somebody that's dealt with a lot of injuries as well. And so I've just really challenged him this spring to stay healthy, man. And he really went through the spring without really any major injuries and was able to go out there and get reps, and he got better. He's somebody else that I'm expecting big things that are going to surprise a lot of people because he has all the tools, man. Kid's 6'5", 310 pounds, 305, man. He moves well. He just learned to just, play with great pad level and execute his technique and fundamentals. He's going to be dominant as well. So those are really two young guys, man, just really excited about that are going to be, I think, a surprise to a lot of people. Not a surprise to me, but they put in the work this offseason.
Nick, you've been recruiting other schools for a few years. There's no new business team. What was it like coming here and recruiting for your school? What did that add to your recruitment?
Last year was my first year in college ball at Auburn. I was recently with the Cincinnati Bengals in 19 and 20. And I think a lot of people, for me, just was, questioning, like, well, how are you going to be able to recruit? And, I laughed at that when some of the college coaches asked that, well, how are you going to be able to recruit? Well, I'm the one that's played in 2 Super Bowls. I played in the league for 11 years, and I'm from South Georgia, small town, so I know how to talk to people because everybody knows everybody where I'm from in Lyons. And so, being able to have authentic conversations with people was going to be real easy for me. But just, I just try to be my authentic self, man. This place, Clemson will sell itself. Our facilities, so I just need to get the recruits here. And, Dabo will knock it out the park being who he is. He's going to talk for about 4 hours and you'll know everything about him, the facilities, our staff, his family, and the city of Clemson, And so, and that's what make this place unique and better than any place in the country. It's the people in the building. I keep saying it, man. We have a wonderful staff, just in every department of our facility, man. And everybody here is just good people. So if I can just get a recruit on campus, everybody else do their job, and man, it makes it easy for me to recruit. So it's easy. I just really take time to allow recruits and their parents to see who I am as a person. It's easy to go on the internet and you can Google and you send the places I've been, some of the things I've done, but who really is Nick Eason? And that goes down to just talking about my past, and all of it ain't good. I didn't grow up with my dad, in the house. My mom had me, she was 18 years old, lived with my grandparents, who ended up getting their GEDs, but great people, got married. My grandmother was 14, my grandfather was 17. So people want to hear those things about who am I really as a person? Who are they going to be sending their son off to be with, to be around, to be molded as a man and as a football player for the next 3 or 4 years of their lives. And so, for me, it makes it easy, So I enjoy the recruiting process. We're not going to get everybody. I'm not going to get everybody. The kids that love what we bring to the table as Clemson, will come, and the ones that don't will go other places. Depending on what we're looking for. If you're looking for a faith-based program that's going to treat you like family, that's going to develop you as a man. We have Paul Journey, which is the best in the country. Then Clemson's for you. If you're trying to chase dollars, this ain't the place for you. And I'm okay with that. NIL has really changed the game, and kids earn it. But at the end of the day, we don't lead with that. We have NIL plans here at Clemson, but we're not going to lead with that, man. We want you to love Clemson like I loved it and came here for reasons of education and the facilities and the people in this building and how we can mold you as a man, and that hasn't changed. So I'm just really excited to be a part of it.
You feel like you've answered the questions about if you can recruit?
Huh?
You feel like you've answered those questions about if you can recruit?
No, I haven't answered the recruiting. Can I recruit? No. The thing about this for me is that, recruiting is not a one-man job, and it's every day for me. And so, as I continue to get the commitments coming in, I know I got to work even harder. You know what I mean? And so I try not to read the newspaper clippings, man, and I want to make sure I remain humble and stay hungry during this process, man. I think a lot of times, people that have had success in recruiting or teams that have had success in winning get real comfortable, all right, and think they don't have to, reach out to parents and talk to the coaches, but that's got to be an everyday thing, and it's got to be real too at the same time. You got to love what you're doing. But for me, yeah, I think I'm starting to answer those questions if I can recruit. So for me, it's just about being authentic. Just being real, being what you are, being respectful, loving on people, being a servant to people, and that's just who I've been. That's who I've always been.
How much do you think recruits are aware of the reputation that Clemson's established over the last 7 or 8 years as kind of being DLU, all the talent that they've produced and put into the league, and the rankings and the defensive rankings?
Yeah, I think I think recruits and people are aware of the defensive tradition that's been here over the years. But my story has always been, I'll bring guys here on a recruiting visit. They'll come sit in my room. They'll see all the names. They'll see my name. They'll see the DJ Readers of the world. But those have been our stories. And for me, just because I, coach in the NFL and I play in the NFL and I've done this, that, and the third, doesn't mean that that's going to be you. If you put the work in, it can happen like that before for you. But if you don't and you're lazy, you don't love football, then it might not happen for you. So everybody has kind of created their own story. All the great players that have came through have created their own stories by the hard work they put in. It's just not going to happen because you choose to come here. The championships that are won here at Clemson are won when nobody's watching. And that's why our guys are here in the weight room. Coach Bass and our weight room staff are just challenging our players, man, to be great. And that's what the championships have won. And I think, people just need to realize that, especially recruits, man. You watch guys play on Sunday, but They don't see the acupuncture, chirotherapy, the massage therapy, the twice a week with the massages, and all the other things that go on behind the scenes, you know. And so those things are what win championships, you know. And you know, I just think that you know, we're gonna be great. Yep, we're gonna be great.
What kind of season do you think you're gonna have from Tyler Davis this year?
Tyler?
Yeah.
Well, you know, I think Tyler's gonna be great. He's got to stay healthy. But he's been truly a leader. I saw that at the workouts when we started mat drills. He's been awesome in the classroom, been awesome on the field, been awesome in the community, and I think he's gonna have a very dominant year. I think some of the things that Wes is gonna do and that I've kind of brought to the table is gonna really cater to his skill set, and you'll see guys, you know, elevate their level of play this year. That's my job to make sure I do that. You know, I didn't recruit these guys in the room, and you know, anytime you take on a new job, you know, somebody's always inheriting somebody else's room. I'm inheriting Todd Bates' room, but it's still my job to make sure that I elevate the level of play of the players in the room. That's what it comes down to. Will these guys play better under Nick Eason? And that's what I'm looking forward to, and they will. I think they will, but it starts down for me when it comes to that about Tyler Mans and him trusting me and knowing who I am as a person, knowing that I care about him and I want them to be successful. And guys will play hard when they know you love them, you know, so that's what's most important.
I know you were very complimentary of Wes this spring and kind of his football mind.
Yep.
What's his last few months been like with him, and how have you seen him kind of continue to grow into his role as a DC?
Man, Wes is going to be great. He's been doing a really good job of taking the time to just kind of mold us as a family, as a staff. So he's had us over his house. Last night he had the defensive tackles at his house. He's had a defense over his house. He understands that this business is about relationships. And players don't care how much you know till they know how much you care. And so, you mean, guys will play hard for you once they know you care about them as people. And I think he's done a great job of that with our staff. You know, some of these guys have worked with him already. I haven't. But, man, he's made me feel welcome in his home, in the building, and just him just empowering everybody in the room and taking your ideas in consideration and really implementing that within our defense as long as it makes sense. And that's what I love about him. Not every defensive coordinator is like that. You know, some defensive coordinators want it their way, and that's okay too. But Wes, I mean, he just empowers everybody on the staff, and you know, he's going to do a phenomenal job. You know, and the biggest thing with Wes, man, he's going to be willing to adjust and make adjustments each week. You know, I think people are going to have a hard time trying to figure out what we're doing, you know, every week, because he's going to be willing to adjust. He knows how to adjust within the game. You know, it could be by quarter, it could be by half. And that's what's going to set us aside and set him aside for everybody. Thank you. I had a lot of phlegm in my throat. Appreciate that. I'm sorry. So I think he's going to do an amazing job.
Personally, you're in the league, you're coaching all. What would you like to get the offer to come here? Is it a recruitment process for you all over that decision?
You know what? It's so for me, you know, I've kind of told the story a little bit here and there. I mean, I never expected this job to kind of come open. I really didn't. You know, I was actually heading into to grab some breakfast. I was, you know, actually in Alabama at the time, and the call came out of nowhere. You know, I've become a little bit more acquainted with social media, but you know, with a little bit of Twitter here and there. But I don't really watch a lot of news. But you know, I didn't know, you know, when Venables left, I didn't know Todd Bates left, and so Coach, you know, called me and just gave me an opportunity. It came out of nowhere, and for me, I care about the players that I coach. And so, you know, the initial conversation, I didn't really just jump on this job. You know, as a matter of fact, I told Coach Sweeney no when he initially asked me, you know, did I want the job, just because I didn't know how my players would feel at Auburn. Those kids were like my sons. And, you know, so for me, you know, it wasn't a quick decision. Oh, I get to go back home, you know, because I care about my players. And, you know, you know, Coach Mason, I have a really great relationship with him. He's one of the reasons why I ended up at Auburn. At Auburn. Of course, Coach Harsin interviewed me and gave me an opportunity to be there. But you know, I cared about the people. I cared about the people that I worked with, and so it was a decision I couldn't make on the spot. You know, so I kind of got put on the spot by Coach Sweeney with a job, and I mean, I thought about it for a couple, you know, like for a day and a half. Like, man, you know, I may not have this opportunity until I'm 60 because there's not a lot of change here You know, people stay here forever, and then once you're here, you see why. And so just, you know, being able to come back here, man, I never received that many text messages, anything in my life. Even when I won a Super Bowl, you know, I got more text messages, you know, about getting this job more than anything. And during the process, you know, Bob Mahoney, who works over in Ipte, his wife, you know, I call them my mom. They're kind of like my white parents, you know, here at Clemson. And but you know, I love them to death. But he called me, and then she was on the other line in the background. Was like, "Oh, come on, Nick. What if I never see you get to coach? You just the whining in the background, you know, giving me the guilt trip, man." But you know, I prayed about it, and I asked God. I'm like, "Hey, if it's meant for me to take this job, then everything, the process of me talking to my players and talking to Coach Mason, all right, will be easy," and it was. So here I am standing before you. So sitting, sorry, not standing.
Not that it's a bad problem to have, but with so much talent on the defensive line, how do you try to keep everyone engaged, keep everyone getting opportunities?
I think, you know, with all the talent and keeping everybody engaged, I mean, I think it's really best everybody understand their role, what their role is, and everybody's going to get their time is going to come. You know, I think some people get so afraid about when you have so much talent, you start thinking about, oh, the guy's going to transfer, right? You know, I don't think about that. I think the guys in the room came to Clemson for the right reasons, because they love Clemson, they want to be here, and everybody will have their time. You know, opportunities will come like they did last year. Nobody expected for us to have so many injuries as we did, but it had guys that were ready to have an opportunity to play, and they played well. And so for me, I don't be concerned about that, but everybody has a role, and you just got to be great at your role when your opportunity to come, man. You got to be great, you know, because there's so much talent in the room. So, you know, nobody should be loafing or, you know, taking plays off because we're going to be 150 miles an hour. So. See, that's why I worked out this morning, to detach myself from Little Debbie, okay? Now, the box of oatmeal cream pie, I really didn't think somebody would send me a 200 oatmeal cream pies, but it really happened, which we had one box left if you would like it up in the defensive line room. I can bring it to you, but no, I do love oatmeal cream pies and Little Debbie's, but I never thought somebody would send me 200 of them. And I knew how serious it was when I got to the ladies' clinic, and there were ladies walking up to take pictures with me with Little Debbie boxes and signing them. So I was like, man, I would keep my mouth shut, you know, next time about the Little Debbie's. But I do love oatmeal cream pies. But.
Do you know who sent the oatmeal cream pies?
No, did you?
No, it was not me.
Oh, okay.
I'll fight over oatmeal cream pies.
Yeah, okay, good. Yeah.
Spoke to social media recruiting, we spoke to that earlier. Did you think that your guitar playing skills was not like your
My guitar playing skills? Oh, man, no, you know, it's just a little thing. Me and Chanel Valentine, our assistant director of on-campus recruiting, we used to perform when I was at Auburn. You know, I grew up in the church, and I know how to play the guitar, the bass guitar, the drums, piano. So it's kind of like a little hidden talent that I have, and growing up in the church. And you know, it's worked out when it needs to work out. You know, at Caden's story, his pastor came over. That we were on social media together and we sung together. So when necessary, I'll bring it out. But it's not. It's kind of like not my recruiting tool. I don't show up at everybody's high school and their houses with my guitar around my neck. You know. So, but no, it works.
Just curious, having played here, would you be sad if Clemson were to leave the ACC for another conference? Or do you have any sort of feelings you have built one about it?
I wouldn't care. We was in the Big Ten. You know, people come to Clemson because it's Clemson. And that's what Coach Sweeney said the other day. I think that resonated with me really strong. Like, people go to Clemson because of Clemson. People go to Alabama because of Alabama. You know, at these particular, you know, at here, you know, at Clemson, you know, it's our culture, our program, and what we offer, you know, speaks for itself. And so I don't really care what conference we in. I mean, we're still gonna be Clemson, you know. And I think that, you know, it matters to some, but for us in the building, we don't care. You know, how it plays out, man. We just have to be the best version of ourselves. We still got to recruit and be Clemson, you know. So, you know, whether we're in the SEC or Big Ten or whatever, it doesn't matter to me. I don't care. You know, still got to put your hand in the dirt and play ball.
Coach Austin, last question. Coach Austin was saying that Dabo's been talking about how the crazier college football gets, the better Clemson will be. Can you just kind of share some thoughts on that?
The better what now?
The crazier
crazy
college football gets and everything gets, the better Clemson will be.
Yeah, man. We just be ourselves, man. Here, coaches have done a really good job of implementing a certain type of culture, and we're just gonna be ourselves, you know. And we don't get caught up in all the changing and shenanigans, you know. We just try to, man. We're faith-based. Our foundation is built upon Christ, and we just be ourselves, man, and continue to work and just let everybody else fight with one another. And we'll just continue to sit here and work, man. I consider ourselves like the quiet storm. You know, we just sit here and work quietly and let everybody get into all the shenanigans of the craziness of college football, man. But our standard is our standard, and then we are, and that's not going to change.
Thank you, Coach.
Yep, thank you, guys.
We're done.
Yep.
Gonna go over radio guys next.
Radio guys, all right. All right,
Love
Wes.
all the Steelers talk, Nick.
Huh?
Love all the Steelers talk.
Oh, appreciate it.
Not me. I'm not. I'm nowhere in between there.